Hello. Hi, Nancy. And hi, Lynn. How are you? Can you hear me? Am I coming through crystal clear? Here we are back for more. Off last week. So hopefully you did something. And definitely easier when it's a guided class, I know, and easier for me when I'm guiding a class to actually put forth all of this effort at one time. But I hope that even if you're not showing up for a class, that throughout your day, you're thinking about your body, your mind, your stress, and everything that goes together. Hi, Michael. So I've got my regular group that I could visualize that the last time I saw you in person. So let me see. So February 29th, I believe, 2020, is that a leap year? I went to London. So that would have been 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. So either 25th or the 24th, but I think it was the 25th, Wednesday, 2020. So 2/25, 2020 is the last time I taught this class in person, which is just crazy to think about. Yet, Nancy, Lynn, and Michael, I'm going to visualize where you were in that space physically. And even though we're not together physically, it's still pretty amazing if you think about it, that we are together in this capacity. So I think that that's amazing. And I'm going to count my blessings wherever I can get them and think of it that way. Right? So we are together, just not in physical proximation. And I don't know when that's going to happen. And here we are. All right. So I know you guys and what's going on with you in your bodies. And I don't know if that's changed. I know there's a lot of low back here. There's some knee stuff going on for some of you. So if there's anything in particular you'd like me to focus on today, please speak now or forever hold your peace. Stan. Oh, and Stan is here too. So now I'm going to see Stan in my visual. All right, great. So there's a lot of low back, potentially low back issues and stiffness. Well, you know what's really crazy? And I know I say this over and over, but I'm really amazed at the mysterious aspects of the universe and how it works. Call it what you may. But actually, today, I had this thought that I would really focus on spine and spinal movement today, which will actually stretch the tissues of the back and especially the low back, and thinking about the low back, or actually, let me go back here because it'll be easier for me to show you full body when I'm talking about this. All right, so this part of our body in between our lower rib cage and where our legs attach to the body, I became so aware of this part of my body when I was convalescing from my hip journey. 5 years ago is when I had my first hip surgery, and I had to get a wheelchair because I couldn't weight bear for 6 weeks. And I showed up to my first yoga therapy training in 2015 in a wheelchair. I have that image, and I use that image in a lot of my marketing. I use that image of here I was in a wheelchair. And then last week, I'm in Cambria for my week off, and I'm on a rock in the ocean, balancing on the leg that I had the hip replacement on. And I just thought to myself what it took to get there. And not that I want you all to be able to balance on one leg in the ocean on a rock, but it's really the mental emotional aspect of that. It's the fact that I feel comfortable to do that, that I feel that I have enough strength and flexibility and mobility in my body to do it. And that is what I care about sharing with you and teaching you, more than what happens to your physical body, because the physical body gets stronger and then it starts to make you feel stronger. And whether it's strength, or for those that have back issues, to give you that ability to take care of yourself in a way that minimizes pain and discomfort, increases mobility, flexibility, and strength. That's why I do this, is to share with you what I use for myself and how I can have that. I can have a body that I can rely on and trust. And that's what this boils down to. So for today's practice, I want to focus on the spine, loosening up the spine, moving our spine in whatever way we can, realizing that the 26 bones are very tightly bound by tissues, by muscles, ligaments, tendons, very tightly monitored, yet we can get smidgens and movements to actually self-correct some of the discomfort from maybe nerve impingement or tightness in tissues, understanding there might be a pull from one side or a pull from the other side, and what we can do to actually free up and raise awareness to how to move our body in a way that will keep us out of pain, keep us strong, mobile, flexible, and let that come up to your mind where you have a package that you could really live this life in and not sit in it and suffer with pain. All right, that's the goal. That's what we're doing today. So a lot of spinal awareness. And because of that, I'd like us to come onto our backs and bring our awareness inside of our body, our internal eyeballs closing here, turning on there, going inside and raising awareness and scanning our body, so to speak, like an X-ray of our body, and then finding these movements in our bodies to free up pain and tension and tightness. All right, so you're going to need a block and you're going to need a strap. We're going to put those off to the side. I have 2 blankets here because some of you may need 2 blankets. I'm going to use one, but I wanted the option for those that maybe have some more tightness, especially the upper back and neck. Having a second blanket may be beneficial for you. If you do need a second blanket, you could take the second blanket and fold it in, I prefer it lengthwise, so it's a shorter fold versus the wider fold. So take one blanket if you would like and put that into that fold. And then the other blanket, you're actually going to turn it into a column or a tube. So take your blanket and roll your blanket. The smaller you roll up the tube, the bigger the opening will be. So if you're going a little more gentle with yourself, I would say that your fold should not be so tight, but rather a bigger, looser fold so that it's going to be a bigger, wider circle as opposed to a tighter one. I want the tighter one because I want to do a really deep opening in my spine and try to make it a really skinny so that it's right on my spine and I can get a real strong, I'm going to say the word pulling or stretch on either side of my spine. And then that is going to go on the floor because our spine is going to be supported here. So if you have pretty good posture, you may not need another blanket for your head. But for some of you, maybe many of you, you will need something else to go by your head. So let's set yourself up for whatever it is you need. And then bring yourself onto your bottom. So your tushy is on the mat. It's not on the blanket. The blanket is back here. And I'd like you to take your hands to the side and just go side to side here to feel the buttock bones as you go side to side. And if you go a little farther side to side, you're actually in the back edge of your hip joint. And for those of us with hip replacements, and I know some of you here have hip replacements, at least one, it's so bizarre. And she has 2, I have 1. But when I go to my natural hip side, I feel like, deep tissue massage. When I go to my hip replacement side, it feels a little weird. And of course, my body is very, cautious of going there because not only did I live in a place of, whatever for how many ever years, but there's just like an intelligence that goes there to make sure it's appropriate. So I really want you to get familiar right now with your buttock bones, with your pelvis. And then notice when you come to the center, is there a dip? Because we have the buttock bones, but then when we go to the center, there's a shift as you go towards the tailbone. This is the base of your spine. And then if you take your hands back a little farther, lift your chest up. Make sure you're not collapsing and caving yourself here. Don't put pressure on the front of your spine, and especially if you have osteoporosis, being very aware that you're always lifting lower ribs away here, creating an opening and a space in front of your spine. So walk your hands back a little bit here, maybe out to the side, fingers may point towards the feet or whatever. Lift your heart up. You're probably going to feel a little stretch in your arm bones in your chest here. And then I want you to go side to side, because now you're at the sacrum, which is the next bone in the spine. And there are bones all the way across here. So when you go side to side, you're actually going to feel more of a smooth transition from one buttock through to the other, through the sacral area where the sacrum is, and then bring yourself all the way up. Okay, so the two lower spine bones, the coccyx bone and the sacrum, are embedded in the pelvis. And they say maybe after age 50, the synovial joint here, the SI joint, sacroiliac joint, fuses together. So we have those two bones here. So let's say they're pretty much a part of the pelvis. So wherever the pelvis goes, the spine is going to follow, and that's important for us. All right, so lifting your chest here, you could either come all the way down onto your back like this, or if that's too much tension for your abdominal area and your psoas, you could come to the side and bring yourself onto the blanket. So whatever it is you're going to choose, the low back is touching the blanket here. And then you, with a lifted chest, with length in the front of your spine, you bring yourself down onto the blanket. And then if you need the other blanket for the head, try that. Or if you're able to get away without it, try not to use it. And keep your knees bent, your feet are flat. And then lift your pelvis up a second and put it back down so you feel your sacrum and you feel your coccyx bone, the two lower bones embedded in the pelvis, touching the ground. And then bring yourself with the arms out to the side. Now, I always feel a pretty strong opening here, and I have pretty good posture. So I imagine that for most, there's some feeling or sensation, either right where the arms attach, right here, where your pectorals and your deltoids are, and also some of the rotator cuff tendons that are holding the arm in the socket may be getting stretched. So you have to see if this is appropriate for you. And for those that have shoulder issues, you don't want too strong of a pull. If you have a acute right now, you have pain or discomfort in your shoulders, you don't want to be pulling and stretching the tendons if they are in a place of inflammation and pain. Okay, so if you are in a place of pain in your body somewhere, you want to be there with your mind when you're moving your body. You also want to be aware of what is a safe range of motion for you when you are in the place of pain or discomfort. And then take your arms out to the side, palms are up towards the sky. Knees fall in towards each other, soles of the feet are on the ground. Close your eyes and start to arrange your body in the way that feels appropriate for you. You could lift your head up, slightly tuck your chin down towards your chest so that the back of your neck is nice and long. And then if you did have an ostrich egg, you know, the ostrich egg is about the size of your palm, from the tip of your middle finger to the base of your palm. That's about how big an ostrich egg is. So if you had a raw ostrich egg in between, in your throat, right where your your neck begins and your neck ends, you don't want to move in a way that would crack that egg. I also don't want you to feel restricted by that visual of having an egg in your throat, because it's not just your throat, it's the whole keeping the neck nice and long. So be a giraffe, not a swan. Lengthen the back of your head by feel that you're lengthening the back of the head, tucking the chin down towards your chest. Arms are to the side, and then with the eyes closed, move your arms either higher towards the back wall or start to add a little bit of a bend to the elbows, keeping the back of the hands on the ground, the back of the arms on the ground, the elbows are on the ground, the forearms are on the ground, the back of the hands are on the ground. The palms are open towards the ceiling or the sky. And then noticing here where you're feeling a stretch. Let your back teeth be separated. Let your jaw be rested. Soft jaw. Taking the tension out of the jaw. Go ahead and clench the teeth. Clench your teeth. Feel the tension in the jaw right there by the ears, in front of the ears. Clench, clench, clench. Feel the tension. And then slowly, slowly, slowly release the tension. Start to breathe to your chest. Keep your back teeth separated. Lips are touching. Breathing in and out through the nose and breathing down to your chest. Bring your awareness down to your tailbone and your sacrum, the two bones that are in your pelvis. Feel them on the ground. Then bring your awareness to the blanket. And feel the blanket beginning where the top edge of your pelvis is. So let's see if we can push the low back towards the blanket and actually feel a little movement maybe in the pelvis. Feel activation of the core muscles, your stabilizers and your support. So take an inhale down to your belly. And as you exhale, press your belly towards your spine and towards the floor, and feel the low back pressing into the blanket behind your spine. Slowly inhale to soften and release. Exhale, slowly activate your core as you press down towards the blanket, trying to push the low back into the blanket that's at the base of your spine. Inhale to release. Go slow. See if you could feel that your entire core, right side, left side, activates. You press towards the blanket. Do you feel both sides of your spine, left and right, equally pressing towards the blanket? And are you able to feel movement in your pelvis as this activates the beginning of a posterior tilt, a tilting of the pelvis backwards? Visualize that your core is like an aluminum can. There's a top and a bottom and a cylinder all around. As you exhale to activate, imagine you're turning the can into an hourglass shape. And then you're pushing the very center, which is about 4 inches below the belly button, towards the blanket. And then release. Do this a couple more times. Notice if you feel any movement, hear any sounds, feel any rearranging of your spine, self-chiropractic adjustments. And then release. Bring your awareness to the next section of your spine, 12 vertebrae that are all attached to the ribs, right from the clavicle bones at the top of the chest, down to right around where the belly button is, where that last rib, the floating rib, the 12th floating rib, is attached onto the back of the body. And I want you to be very gentle here. I don't want you to cave in or collapse your chest. I want you to bring your awareness as you inhale to expand your ribs as wide as you can. And as you exhale, bring your awareness to the spine where the ribs are attached and press it towards the blanket so that you feel tension, but you don't feel a collapsing in of your chest. Long neck. Just to bring your awareness to those 12 bones. Feel the sacrum in the blanket. Feel the low back be soft. You're trying to bring awareness to the 12 vertebrae of the thoracic spine. Notice where you feel a stretch when you try to press the thoracic spine towards the blanket. Then bring your awareness to your cervical spine, 7 bones here, starting right where that clavicle is, going all the way up to the base of the skull, where the skull is attached by the C1, C2. It's called the atlas occipital. The atlas holding the globe. 7 bones here. Let's see if we could create as much length as possible in the cervical spine, drawing that curve into more of its natural curve, which is in an extension position, the same as the lumbar spine. And it is the design of the spine, the curves of the spine, that actually supports the weight of this heavy 10-pound head we're all walking around with. So take an inhale. Think of lengthening your head, reaching up towards the wall behind you. As you exhale, slightly, like a 1/100th of an inch, chin is pushing towards the heart, getting a little more length in the back of the neck. Inhale to soften. And now exhale, add that lengthening sensation. 1/100th of an inch, very, very small. Take one more. The eyes are still closed. The inner eyeballs are on. We're going to go up and down our spine, 26 bones from the tailbone, sacrum, 5 lower lumbar, 12 thoracic, 7 cervical. We're going to go up and down our spine with breath, bringing the breath in to oxygenate the spine fully and exhaling to release anything that's been dislodged or released during the beginning of the practice. Take an exhale to prepare. Inhale your breath all the way in your nostrils, down your spine to your tailbone. Exhale to release all the way up your spine, out your nose, picking up anything that needs to be released along the way. You can inhale relaxation or healing to your spine as you breathe in. Exhale, release tension or anything that no longer serves you. Take one more breath. letting the breath go. Bring your awareness to your fingers and your toes. Wiggle them. Take your feet a little wide here. The eyes are still closed, so bring your feet about the width of your mat. And with the spine stabilized on the blanket, with the pelvis stabilized in the ground, begin to move your knees gently side to side. And they may only move an inch or two. Be okay with whatever it is. Feel the movement of the lower body with the stabilization of your spine. Feel your pelvis not moving at all, your spine not moving at all. The eyes are closed. Go down into your hips with your eyes to notice what you notice. I'm going to bring your legs back to a stationary position. Let's take the feet a little wider. Maybe the heels are on the mat, the toes are off, so you can be a little external rotated here. Palms are open towards the sky. Eyes are closed. Exhale. Inhale, let the knees go to the left. Keep your tushy on the ground. Exhale, firm up your core, push your belly button towards your spine. Press the low back towards the blanket and bring your legs back up. Inhale, let the legs go to the right. Soften, keep the tushy on the ground. Exhale, firm up the core, push the low back towards the blanket. Inhale, back up. Exhale, back up. Inhale, over to the left. Exhale, firm up the core to bring yourself back up. And then inhale to the right. Exhale, back up. Inhale to the left, let your head roll to the right. Exhale to bring yourself with the core contracted, pushing the low back towards the blanket, back up. Go slow, go with breath. Inhale, legs go to the right, head rolls to the left. Exhale, firm up the core, come back up to center. If you'd like to start going bigger with your legs, you could go bigger, but you don't want your body to tilt off of the blanket. Let your head go the opposite direction. Make sure you firm up your core to bring yourself back to center. Exploring what feels appropriate for your body. If you feel any tweaks or twinges of the low back, don't let your legs go so far. Bring yourself back up. Let's see what happens if we go wider with our legs. So you're really wide here with your legs. And take your feet away from you a little bit. So slide them away from you. Exhale. Inhale, legs to the left, head to the right. Exhale, firm up your belly, press your back to the blanket, come back up. Inhale to the right, head to the left. So you'll probably feel this in that posterior hip capsule with the legs away from you and the legs wide. As you go through internal and external rotation in your hip joint, feeling the stretch deep in the hips, making sure you're able to stabilize yourself, keeping your spine nice and stable, firming up your core when you bring your legs back up to center so that you protect the low back as you mobilize the lower body and stabilize the upper body. Next time your legs go to the left, your head goes to the right, stay there. Let the weight be stretching the hips appropriately. Press your back towards the to the blanket if you need it. Inhale, and then exhale, firm up your belly, push your back towards your blanket, come back up to center. One more direction here, legs to the right, head to the left, and stay there. Feel that stretch in the left hip joint. Feel that the back is supported by the blanket. Maybe you feel a stretch all the way up to the neck area. Maybe you feel it in your chest. We're all different. We all have different areas of tension. Next, exhale, bring yourself up to center. Head is neutral. Bring your legs closer together. Let's take the arms out of the equation for a second. Bring the hands down alongside the body. Palms are on the ground. Noticing what you notice here. I'll tell you that for myself, I noticed a lot of stretch in my hips when we did what we just did. And I feel tension in my upper right neck and upper right back because I do have scoliosis in my body, in my upper right side, because I have a left hip. I've had a left hip journey and a hip replacement. And so I feel what's happening in my body here as I move the lower body. I also felt spinal correction when we pressed the low back into the blanket at first and we were posteriorly tilting. I felt correction in my lower lumbar and mostly on my left side. So sharing with you what I'm experiencing, maybe you feel things, maybe you have that level of awareness, maybe you don't. It is something you could develop to keep yourself nice and strong and safe. Lengthen your head again, make sure what happened with your neck once we did what we were doing. You could pick your head up, tucking the chin towards the heart. Hands are down alongside your body. We're going to actually slide ourselves up onto our folded up blanket to do a little bit of movement with the pelvis and a little bit of movement with our core. So if you have a blanket back by your head, you may need to move it. We're going to bring our feet closer to our body. Actually, let's undulate our spine first before we do that. So bring your, if your blanket is, I'd like your blanket away from your head if you had a blanket there. So if you did have a blanket, please move it away. Move your feet a little bit closer to your body. Let's take our hands down alongside our body. Then I want you to press your belly towards your blanket, your low back towards your blanket, and your feet are a little wider than hip. And you're going to slowly peel the low back away from the blanket up to the lower ribs, and then slowly place the lower spine one vertebra at a time back down onto the blanket, and then allow the tushy to touch the floor. Begin by putting your tailbone away, lengthening your spine, press the low back or the top edge of the spine or pelvis onto the blanket, then start to peel your spine up and away, only up to the low ribs, and then place the lower ribs down. I want you to feel that journey. I want you to feel that you slowly peel your spine away. So you begin by tilting your pelvis back. You're going to feel a tremendous pressure in the blanket when you go into posterior tilt. My tushy at this point is lifting away from the ground. And then I start to push my feet into the ground and start to squeeze the tushy, peeling the spine away up to where the low ribs are. So my thoracic spine is still on the blanket. And then slowly lowering down. Mobilizing the lumbar spine, using the glutes. And you may feel when you come up a stretch in your quadriceps. Now, for those with knee issues, if you feel too much tension over your kneecap, so I'm okay if you feel the stretch here where the hips are, and if you feel it in the belly of the quads, that's okay too. But if you're feeling it at the tendinous part of your quadriceps as they attach onto lower leg bones, I don't want that part, the tendon. So if you are, when you peel yourself up, if you're feeling too much of a stretch at the tendinous part of the kneecap, you could actually walk your feet away a little bit so that when you come up, there's a little less at the external edge. It's going to be much more glute and quad work, but I want you to try that. So let's do one more to the lower ribs and then go down. Now we're all going to do that. We're all going to walk our feet away a little bit or a lot of it. For those that want a little bit more strengthening work, go a lot of it away. So a little bit for the ones that want a little less, a lot of it away if you want a little bit more. Now you're totally supported. Your head is supported by your blanket. You're only lifting up to the low ribs. So you're mobilizing lumbar spine, you're mobilizing pelvis, and you're using the posterior chain, strengthening the parts of you that are really important
for low back health, for hip joint health, for knee health, and then it's going to be good for balance and for structure of your torso. So it may seem like subtle work, like, am I doing a lot? Yeah, you're doing a lot. You're setting yourself up for success and body awareness and being able to balance on a rock at the edge of the ocean. Maybe you'll stay on the sand and I'll go on the rocks. All right, exhale. Inhale to prepare. Push the low back towards the blanket. Lengthen your tailbone away from you as you push your feet into the floor and start to peel. And try not to let yourself go wobble side to side. And then slowly come down. Ooh, definitely much more intensity at the hamstrings. Okay, so do a little bit of this first to warm up the hamstrings. And some of you that are crampy, that get crampy, may bring in too many cramps if you're a little farther away. It's a really interesting angle to load up the hamstrings. So, all right, activate the core, squeeze the tushy, and then begin on your inhale to peel yourself up. If you activate the glutes, it'll help with the cramping because you're going to disperse the tension in your body when you do this. Exhale, and then inhale, push your feet into the floor, peel yourself up to the lower ribs. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. One more. Inhale to rise. Stay here. So squeeze your tushy, push your feet, not just the heels, push the toes into the ground. Ooh. If you get a cramp, come down, unbend and bend the knees. When you're here, squeeze the tushy, push the feet into the floor, the heels, the toes. You're only peeling off to your rib cage. Make sure the pinky toe edges of the foot are pressing into the ground too. If you want a little bit more, lift one leg off, lift the other leg off, lift one leg off, lift the other leg off. Keep your rib cage on the blanket. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. May look like it's pretty simple, but definitely a lot of stuff happening down there in the glutes, the hamstrings. All right, let's bring ourselves up on top of our blanket. So you're going to push yourself so that you have complete support of your body on your blanket. So just to show you, my whole blanket starts at the tailbone and goes all the way up my head. So if your blanket is not long enough, you could take the other blanket if you had one, and you may need to have your head supported with the other blanket, and then the rolled up blanket is underneath your body. Take your hands alongside your body like a pentapod so that you have stability here. And just noticing here, look what happens if you take your arms up. So bring your arms up and see if you feel your stabilizing muscles trying to activate to stabilize you. Feet are as wide as the body and they're away from your body a little bit. So bringing the arms up, exhale, inhale to open. Try to touch the floor if you can, inhale. Now I really want you to stretch your arms here. So pay attention, those with shoulder issues. The higher your arm is, the more tension it is in the shoulder. You may either need elbows bent or you may need to be a little bit lower if you have shoulder issues. When in the practice of yoga, when we open our body or lengthen, we inhale. And as you exhale, you're closing your body or contracting. So think of the lungs. You inhale, they open and expand. You open your arms to bring in, to receive. You exhale to relax, to contract, to close. The nervous system also inhale. When you inhale, this is when your sympathetic branch, your fight flight branch, your high alert is a coast clear. When you exhale is when the coast is clear. Inhale, is everything okay? Is everything safe? Exhale, yes, it's okay. So even for your body, when you're coming into your body to notice if it's safe for you to move this way, when you inhale, it's like, okay, is that okay? Is that okay? Can I do this? Last one. Bring your hands down alongside your body. Let's do one arm at a time. Inhale to lift one arm up and back. Exhale to bring it down. Inhale, other arm up and back. Notice if there's a wobble wobble, or are you able to find the stabilization in the shoulder joint? Working on stabilizing muscles today. Small little muscles in the joints. You inhale to let your head lift up. Make sure your back neck is nice and long. Your whole body is on top of your rolled up blanket. So there's definitely a need for the stabilizing muscles of your skeleton to be activated. And you may be experiencing this. Let's try both arms at the same time. We inhale to open, to expand, to stretch. We exhale to release. Inhale to open, expand, stretch. Lengthen your neck. Notice what happens to the neck if it keeps moving. Next time you come up, stay up. If your shoulders don't let you come with your arms above, will they let you take the arms out to the side? Be okay with whatever range of motion is available to you. Inhale. And then exhale, bring your hands down. Let's do a little bit with the legs. So bring your feet, do a little bit of marching so that you get your legs to be where they are. Okay? So put your feet where they are. Toes are pointing away from you. Fingertips are on the ground. Don't let your upper arms or your elbows be on the ground, just your fingertips. You're going to inhale. And as you exhale, firm up your core. Lift your right knee up to a 90-degree. Exhale to lower. Sorry, did that wrong. Come back. When we exhale is when we contract and we do the work of the core. The inhale is when we soften. Because when we inhale, our diaphragm is moving down and filling up our belly. So we don't want the work of the core to be done during the inhale. And I'm sharing this with you because often people say to me, I forget when I'm supposed to breathe. I can't get the breathing right. So I'm trying to give you a little bit more instruction today with the breath. So whenever you are moving, practicing yoga, bringing your body, mind, and you to this present moment, you match the breath with the movement. The exhale for the core is when you can contract. So if the core was like an aluminum can and the core contraction was to crush the can or turn it into an hourglass, that's when you need the exhale to be to get that power. Okay, so that's what we do with the core. All right, fingertips are on the ground, elbows are not touching, upper arm bones are not touching. Take an exhale, take an inhale. Okay, let's do that again because I messed myself up. So we're going to inhale to rise. And yes, there is some action, there's stabilization. And then when we lower, we're going to do the exhale because to take the leg away and to push down to the ground is when the exhale and the work is going to happen. All right, inhale and exhale. And let's begin. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale to lower with core contraction. Push the low back towards the ground. Do a lot of work. Inhale. Exhale, contract your core. So we switched legs. We did the opposite leg. Inhale, right leg. Exhale to lower. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, contract. Inhale. One more. And then stop for a second. So I just felt an adjustment in my lower, or actually closer to where my low back and middle back meet. When I lowered my left leg, I felt a movement of a vertebra. So that was interesting. Let me see. Yeah, okay. We're going to do a diagonal pattern here with an arm and a leg. Let's see how you feel. You're on something here, so your stabilizers need to activate. Pick your head up, tuck your chin towards your chest, lengthen the back neck. Exhale, inhale, lift the right leg and the left arm. Exhale, lower the right leg, lower the left arm. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Exhale, left leg, right arm. Activate your core. Push your low back towards your blanket when you do this. Keep going. Inhale, diagonal. Exhale, contract your core to lower. Inhale. Exhale. You want to add a little bit more challenge. Take the arms up. Exhale. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Keep your right arm. Don't move your right arm at all. Exhale, core contraction to lower. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Ooh, oh my gosh. Exhale to lower. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Exhale to lower. One more. If you open your eyes, if you're having trouble with the balance, the visual helps with balance. And then bring yourself back to center. Okay, I've actually never ever done this and have never ever taught that before. And I am so amazed at how amazing that is for balance training. So maybe something that I will definitely be doing more often. And then I'm not sure if any of you had trouble with the balance. I did when I started to go to my left side, which is my hip replacement, which is where I have my issues. And then when you open the eyes, it actually helps to bring in some support. Okay, we're going to get off the blanket here because I definitely am feeling that I feel this in my whole spine, and I know it's because my spine is working a lot. We've been doing a lot of stabilization work. I want to free up the thoracic spine, so we're going to roll to a side. I'm going to roll so you see my back because I want you to notice that the blanket stays close to my spine, and I'm going to roll all the way off the spine. So I'm on my right side. The blanket is all the way up against my back. I'm not on the blanket anymore. But it's behind me, and I want it to be behind you. And I want you to have your head on your arm and then have your arms clasped. Bring your knees up pretty high. Arms are towards each other. Exhale. And then inhale, lift your elbow up, slide the shoulder blade towards the spine. Let's rotate the thoracic spine, stretch the spine, get a little bit of tension out of the spine. And the blanket there is to help you not roll onto your back. Exhale to close. Inhale to open. Exhale. So this is small, subtle work because we're stretching and working small, tiny muscles. So you don't need to do big movement for these little muscles. And we're not focusing on our big mover muscles. We're focusing on the little stabilizers. Very stabilizing practice for joint alignment and for balance. Bring yourself up and open, stay here. Push your heart forward, reaching your elbow away from you, stretching your upper body in whatever appropriate range of motion you have. And then go ahead and close off. Take your arm down alongside your body. Let's take your arm, reach your arm up and around like a clock. Visualize a clock. Try to keep your arm, your elbow straight, palm goes up towards the sky when you're here. That's your inhale. And then your exhale, you come forward, palm goes down towards the ground. You inhale, palm is up. You exhale, palm is down. Inhale up and exhale down. One more. Stay open, stay open. Feel the stretch in your shoulder. Push your heart forward, lengthen your spine, bring your awareness to your belly, push your belly button to your spine, point your tailbone away from you. So you try to minimize the curve of the low back, which is extension. Feel that stretch in the left. And if you bend your arm too, you'll feel it down to your wrist. So you're really stretching the fascia of the arm. I feel this all the way into my left thumb, into my palm, mostly left thumb. Push your heart forward, really stretch. Maybe try to touch the fingertips towards the ground. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself to the other side. So you can bring yourself over your blanket that's on your back, rolling like up and over the hill. That reminds me of up and over the hill to grandmother's house we go. Okay, bring your knees together. Your head is on your arm. Your blanket is behind your back. And you take your elbows together. Exhale. Inhale, lift your elbow up. Push your heart forward and stretch your upper torso. Exhale to close. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, push your heart forward, stretch, stretch, stretch. Exhale, last one. Inhale to open and stay there. Stay there. You're pushing your heart forward. Bring your awareness to your tailbone. Lengthen your tailbone away from you. Press your belly button towards your spine. It's trying to lengthen your spine. Push your heart forward. Elbow is moving towards the ground. Probably here you'll feel this underneath your armpit, in your chest. You may even feel it down to the hip of the side that you're on. Press your heart forward. We are stretching thoracic spine. So maybe you feel a little bit by the ribs or the back of middle, the upper or the middle back. And on your next exhale, come forward. Bring your hand forward. Exhale. Start to bring your hand up. And as your palm flips open, inhale. And then exhale. So let your hand begin going up. And go slow, and especially if you feel stickiness, if you feel tension, if you feel anything bizarre, go slow and try to notice, what is that? Really freeing up that shoulder joint. And the next time you come open, stay open. Stay here. So when I first started doing this arm on this side, I noticed some stickiness and tension in my upper right side, which is where I was feeling the stretch from before. So I slowed down, I went inside my body, I explored the movement slowly to see what was appropriate. And sure enough, by the last rotation, it was a more fluid process, not quite as sticky. So going slow and steady and introducing movement to your body slowly is really nice. Flex the wrist, so bend your hand like this so that you actually stretch. See where you feel that? Probably going to go down into the wrist joint here, stretching the wrist joint where the nerves travel down into the hands. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Bring yourself forward. We're going to push ourselves up. So we're going to use our muscles, the strength of our body here to push away from the ground. Bring your hand forward right around where your chest is. Open up your hand. Look down towards your hand. And you're going to push, push, push with your hand. Push, 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 push yourself up. And look down where you were for a while. What happened to your blanket? What is the shape of your blanket? Mine is definitely angled here. So that might be an indication of what's going on in my body. I don't know. Very interesting. Let's take your blanket, fold your blanket, and then get your strap, bring yourself on top of your blanket. Get your strap here. Let's take the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. I want to stretch the lateral chain. So I want us to stretch the side of our bodies. We're going to use a strap because we could get a really nice big stretch. If the shoulders won't let you do this, you could take your hands on your shoulders and do this. You could do the side to side with your hands on your shoulders. And this is going to stretch that lateral chain. Or if you're able to take your strap and bring your strap really big and then go side to side with your strap. Keep your strap on the side of your body, not forward. And it's the hand that goes up to the side that really reaches away from you to really get that nice stretch. Have your legs be spread here so that you'll feel secure. Really reach your hand up towards the sky. And then bring yourself all the way up. Reach your arms up. Open your throat, reach your heart up. Stretch your body. Try to stretch the lower ribs away from your legs. So try to feel a stretch in your belly here. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up. Take your strap off to the side. Fix your blanket. I know this won't be available to all of you, but to those that can bend your knees, you're going to lengthen your spine. So for those that are okay bending their knees, I want you to come into a squatted position, stretching your spine, feeling the weight of your pelvis moving towards the ground. So you really stretch your spine here. For those that cannot bend their knees, come down onto the ground and do a puppy dog. Arms are long. You take your arms long here and you let your forehead touch the ground. Keep your arms straight. Let the weight of the pelvis move away from you. So stretching your spine either through a puppy dog posture, better for those whose knees don't like to bend, or through a squatted position for those who are okay bending their knees. And if you can still bend your knees, this is a great way to relax if you're standing too often. And many cultures around the world use squatting for, I don't even know if the intention is to release tension in the back, but that is what happens. You take away that compressive force and you really lengthen your spine. I mean, there's still a compressive force, but just you're really taking it out of the hip and letting that spine lengthen because the pelvis is heavy and it goes towards the ground.
and then bring yourself out. So that's a great way to stretch the spine, either through the puppy dog posture or through the squat, if you can squat. Let's come on to all fours, strengthening our spine. We did a lot with the stabilizers in the spine today, and now I'd like to strengthen the big muscles that actually keep you in the supported position. It's called spinal extension or balancing cat, and it's a diagonal pattern here that the body works in. So we're going to come through a couple of these and then hold statically. So take your fingertips forward. Your hands are right underneath. Actually, take your hands wider first, wider and forward, and take your legs wide. And you're going to move your body back and forth, side to side. And then you're going to come back to center. You're going to move yourself forward and back, forward and back. So try to keep your spine pretty neutral here. You're not curving your spine. We're not doing the cat-cow or the extension and flexion. We're moving in our hip joints and our shoulders. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Push yourself back a little bit so you're not too much in your wrists here. Think about your tailbone, right? So your tailbone is right here. And imagine there's a Sharpie marker off the edge of your tailbone, and you're going to draw circles behind you. So you're going to imagine that you have a marker in your tailbone, and I want you to draw circles. It's actually maybe more like an oval, or maybe you could get a circle. Go with a big circle. So keep your ribs stable, keep your upper body stable, look forward, spread your fingers, push your fingertips into the ground so that you don't feel too much in your wrists. Go big, big circles. Feel the stretch in the low back as you move the pelvis independently of the ribs. The rib cage stays stationary and the pelvis is moving. And then you're going to go in the other direction. See if you can make a smooth circle. I like to close my eyes, visualize there's a big sheet of white paper. I've got a purple Sharpie marker, and I'm trying to make a complete circle without lifting the marker off and trying to make it a circle as opposed to a oval. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Bring yourself all the way up. Take your hands, move your fingers, stretch your hand, stretch your wrist. Keep the arm straight. Push the hand down. Doesn't that feel great? It feels so good when you do that. When you think about a Sharpie marker drawing circles behind you and you stretch the low back muscles. For me, it feels good. I'd love to hear from those of you that have a different type of body than I have. Not necessarily male or female, but to the other hand. But there's two different spinal types. What I learned is that the spine is either designed for mobility or stability. And for those that have a flatter back, a flatter low back, and I see this when I work with people, there's a flatter low back. That's more of a stable spine where there's less curvature in the spine and the spine is stacked. So that's more of a stable body. The low back, when the curve is pretty big like mine is, that's more of a curvy back, which is more for mobility, or it has the ability to move more. So that's why I'd like to hear from those. Like mine's more of a mobile spine. So when I do that, it feels really good for me. But I'm wondering for those that have a more stable back, how it feels to do that. All right, coming forward, let's do our spinal balance. Fingertips are forward. Walk your hands forward so you have a pretty big space between your hand and your knee. There's a space here. That's the same space as your torso. Inhale, right hand reaches away, left leg reaches away. Exhale, nose is pointing straight down towards the ground. Inhale, lift right hand, left leg. Exhale to lower. Inhale, right hand, left leg. Inhale to lower. Right hand, left leg. Inhale to lower. Last one, inhale, right hand, left leg. Stay here. Reach long with your right arm, reach long with your left leg. If you want a little bit of a challenge, pushing your left fingertips into the ground to help with the left wrist, you could try to reach the right foot off the ground.
Take one more breath. Bring your right hand down, left leg. Slide the left hand away, the right leg away. Exhale. Inhale, lift left hand, right leg. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. One more. Inhale to lift. Stay here. Stay here. Reach your left hand long, right leg long. Press the fingertips into the ground. Reach, reach, reach. If you want a little bit more, lift your left leg off. Opening the eyes is definitely easier. If you begin with eyes closed, a little more challenging. So if you're feeling really strong, you can close your eyes and see what happens there. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. Bring yourself out. Shake, shake, shake. Shake everything. Shake high, shake low. Shake, shake, shake. Kind of let it be floppy too, so that everything just doesn't shake your body. Shake everything. Shake, shake, shake. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Whew. All right. Let's take the blanket to the top of the mat. Check in for a second with your body. Notice what you're feeling. I definitely am feeling the work that has taken place in the belly, in our core, as we've done what we've done to manipulate the spine, and then we've done a lot of stabilizing. So wonder if you're experiencing that. Have your block handy. Have your blanket at the top of your mat. Bring yourself down onto the ground. Bring your blanket behind your neck. Let's take the block and we're going to stretch our low back, and we'll do a bridge posture too to strengthen everything. And we'll do that in a static position. So let's statically end with really keeping everything nice and aligned and supportive of the spine, and then we'll stretch the spine. So take the blanket away from the back of the head. The block is between your legs. Roll side to side so that you can roll the upper arm bones so the shoulder blades go closer to the spine. Pick the head up, lengthen the spine, walk the feet closer to the body, squeeze the block. Squeeze the tushy, press the low back into the floor. And then you're going to begin to peel and lift away from the ground. Now you're going to lift a little higher, so the lower ribs and then the whole ribs lift up and away from the ground. You could squeeze your tushy, squeeze the block, reach your knees long. Push away from the ground with the arms and the legs and take 5 breaths here. Feet press into the ground, arms press into the ground. Lift your heart up towards your nose. When you finish your last breath, squeezing the block, you're going to slowly place your spine back down on the ground, one vertebra at a time. Reach down and get the block. Bring the tushy off the ground and place the block underneath the lower spine where the sacrum and the tailbone are. Try to get the top edge of the pelvis to touch the block, and then let sacrum and coccyx bone. Bring your arms closer to your body, lift your heart up, lengthen the back neck. Would rather you not have anything under your head, or if you need something, a very small fold. You could close the eyes here. You could take your hands on the hip bones, press the hip bones towards the block, or even one at a time if you feel that anything is off asymmetrically. So either one at a time or both, or have your arms alongside your body. Close your eyes. if you'd like to bring your legs up towards the sky, stretching your feet, inhaling to stretch, pointing the feet, exhale, flex, inhale, and exhale. So you could lift your legs in the air if you'd like, or keep your feet on the ground. And then circles in one direction. Circles in the other. If your legs are in the air, go ahead and place them on the ground. Taking one more breath here. We're going to prepare for Shavasana. So lift your body off the blanket or off the block. Bring your blanket back underneath your head. Bring yourself into Shavasana, final rest, whatever feels the best for your body. Feel your body when you do this. Breathe. See if you can notice any shifts that took place during the practice. Gently begin to deepen your breath, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Bending your knees, drawing the knees into your chest and rocking side to side. Noticing how your body feels. Bring yourself onto your side, and from there, push away from the ground to bring yourself up when you're ready. Coming into a seated position, lengthening your spine, feel your pelvis, press your tailbone towards the ground. Hands are together, press your heart towards your hands towards your heart. Feel the palms touching, the fingers touching. Take a big exhale. Inhale, keep your lips together and make the sound on the way out. In gratitude, thank you. Namaste. Well, today's practice, the word yoga is to integrate the mind, the body, the soul, to be in the present moment. And a practice like today, where you are so in tune with your body, noticing what you notice, recognizing what's happening in your body, feeling and experiencing, that is yoga. That is present moment. Here you are in your body. And the more body awareness you have, the healthier and happier, more functional, more mobile you can keep yourself, which is going to be beneficial from a yogic perspective of keeping the vessel that you're living in as happy, as healthy, as functional as possible. So I hope that this practice gave you some insight, maybe in ways that you didn't have before, whether there's things you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. Whatever the lessons are, whether they're positive or not, we'll take them, because that is what will help us know more about what is appropriate for our body and our mind. So thank you. All right, I'd love to hear how you're feeling, because as I teach and I know who's here, I'm like, okay, I hope this is okay for blah, blah. I hope this is okay for her. I hope this is okay for him. Martha, hello. Nice to have you. Carolyn, good morning. Good, Carolyn. Yeah, I felt a lot of stuff. It's really bizarre. But I'll tell you, I had to develop body awareness because I didn't have it before my injury. And it really is the knowing of my body that helps me heal and stay strong. Yeah, it's good to be back. So I share this because I believe in it. So I hope that it was good for you guys. Stan, I hope this was good for you, because I hope that worked for you. Nancy, I hope. Lynn, everyone. So definitely reach out to me, email me, or text me. Some of you will let me know when I started, my pain level was a 6 out of 10. And when I ended, it was either non-existent or whatever. So whether it's good or bad, please, if we poked the monster in any way, I'd love to know, because maybe I could help you figure out either what you should do, what you shouldn't do, or something like that. All right, Lynn. Great. Thank you. All right. Well, it's so good to have you all here. Thank you so much for being with me. I'll be here next Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, because we have to prepare our bodies for the turkey or whatever else you're eating. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.